When we played LG at ESWC, they obviously had a pickup. It was Panda. There was like a really aggressive team, which we noticed, and the respawn game was really good.
Going into the series versus Millenium, we're feeling very confident. When we played them with our full team at MLG Atlanta, we beat them 3-0. We kind of know what to expect for the most part. They haven't changed their roster, so we've been watching them play versus NA teams and seeing what they've been doing and stuff. So we're fully feeling confident going into that match, and I think we should be able to beat them.
The difference maker will probably be our aggressiveness. I think we just really need to step up the aggressiveness against LG, and they've got the chemistry because they've been together quite a while. So I think it's just stepping up our trades, being aggressive as a team, and just constant communication.
I think with most European teams, especially Millenium, they are very selfless players. We have, like I said, a really strong respawn team, and I think with the first match being against them, we're going to come out hot and we're going to look good.
There's a look at our two teams. Here are the 5 maps they'll be playing in the best-of-5 series. This is day 2 kickoff. Matt, you weren't very high on Millenium. Is this a 3-0 in your mind for LG?
I think so. I think it's either a 3-0 or 3-1 in favor of Luminosity. They've been so strong, I know, up until their match against E United last night. They still looked pretty good in it. But I think until we see Millenium win a match, I'm not going to take them in one. They did not look good yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at these maps, I mean, Scorch, hardpoint, that's where Evil Geniuses started their run last week. If Millenium can come out hot, Luminosity has a slow start, they can get an early lead. It's very hard to come back on Scorch hardpoint. Then Crusher, Search and Destroy for map number 2. We saw Luminosity this whole entire year have so many in-game issues on that map. So, I mean, if Millenium has a hot start, they could go up 2-0 very quickly.
Pretty good series. What's your official prediction, Merc? You were 3-1 yesterday.
3-1 Luminosity.
3-1 Luminosity. Felony, close it out for me. What's the prediction?
I'm going to go 3-1 Luminosity for the simple fact of I've played Millenium on Crusher S&D a few times, and that's probably one of their stronger Search and Destroy maps compared to Luminosity's weaker maps. So I'm going to go 3-1 Luminosity.
Luminosity, Luminosity. I'm cheering for the Europeans. Let's see if Millenium can get it done. They need a big day number 2. And to open things up, we got our casters. It's Chance with Courage.
Thank you, you talented gentlemen. It's time for day number 2. And we've got a surprise for you all at home. Back on the caster, I was going to say desk, standing area, it is Chance. Long time no see, my friend. How you been?
I've been all right. I mean, finals for school, so I'm much happier to be here.
Yes.
Talking cast over some Call of Duty and exciting matches as well. Millenium, they're going to be trying to pull that EG. They started off as bad as you possibly could, and hopefully they can flip the script and maybe take that first place, but don't jinx them.
Do not sell them short. They did get 1 map win. EG didn't in their first day, but hey, you know what? EG got top in their group. Millenium can still do the same. It's the beauty of the double round robin. Chance, this is your first weekend here as we see our first map will be Scorch Hardpoint. How have you been enjoying the LAN League stuff so far? What are you looking forward to for the rest of this weekend?
Easy days, man, honestly. Coming in from events, you start working them 12-hour days, not getting enough sleep. This is easy mode. This is a lot of fun. And just to kind of touch on the map a little bit, Scorch Hardpoint. If you're Millenium, that is a blessing in disguise. That is probably the best opportunity you're going to have to take a hard point off of Luminosity. Again, the slaying power LG brings is incredible, but the map just plays different, man.
Is this a must-win for you for Millenium right off the start of the series?
Absolutely. Definitely going to be a must-win falling into that search as well because, again, Luminosity, it looks like they've improved a decent bit in their search game so far. Of course, early on, it is Millenium in the hill, and actually the strat that they just did off the break as well, immediately sending 2 players on the flank, got them a little bit of early time.
Yeah, and typically, actually, if LG were on the flip side, that's Saints' role. He's the one that hits that top bridge. This time around, though, they do get overwhelmed by it a little bit, and thus Millenium will keep early control of the hardpoint. Nolson, who will be your main ERAD player for this Millenium team, currently 3-0, spots someone pushing as well towards Drill, and now with these grenades coming in as well, they've got all the information they could ask for. Can they stop the LG hold, though, towards Turbine? It's a beautiful start for the European team off the break.
Yeah, I mean, just watching Nolson play, an incredibly slippery player, been doing fantastic as well. Best start you could hope for. Starting to work his way to some streaks, but never mind, Classic is going to cut him down. But this is important for Luminosity. This is the hill where they struggled on profoundly against E United, but they do have that early control. They're going to see if they can hold off the first Millenium push.
Well, Classic is going to be the guy getting in the first engagements. He's able to get 1, which will put the trade advantage over to his team, and just like that, it's 4 dead. And look at the mini-map. How far out Millenium just spawned, and this is a sign of a confident team right here, Chance. Look at these lanes being flooded by LG. They're already setting their focus towards this next hangar hardpoint, even with 30 seconds left. Classic tries to go for the pinch in middle, but Marky B sniffs it on out. Attempt number 2 to retake this hill for Millenium comes right now.
Yeah, pretty massive turnaround. Again, yesterday, as mentioned, against United, they got about 34 points total on the Turbine hill, and that's through 3 set of rotations. Already just there, they got 39 points, and more importantly, those rotations coming in, if they can hold this down, they could easily put another 39 points on the board.
And you saw right there, the break did come in for Millenium. Yes, they will get the scrap time. One thing to take note of, you know, that flank that Classic tried to do by hitting that top bridge didn't wind up working out for his team. LG probably would have gotten the full 60 if he didn't do it. But at the same time, they have rotated now and are set up for Hangar as they look to rebuild on this lead. They're up by about 6 seconds right now. And Marky B, the veteran player, waiting for his teammates to push on through. Now he's going to get the call. It's time for Millenium to flood the hill.
Yep, Mooseman and Nolson each able to pick up a hill. Marky B needs to try to break in. His teammates are trying to work in tandem. Nolson sitting inside as well. So all of those LG players going to be coming in the back. Octane is going to be able to pick up 2, but nope, one of those is a team kill. Potentially unfortunate, but all comes down to the gunfight inside, and Mooseman comes out on top.
Crazy to see how Millenium just 3-stacked that top bridge and were able to take control of the hard point. It's very rare. Typically, you see teams focus towards those back rock spawns. Here, Millenium confident in their ability to just push right through the front door, get the break. It's 4 dead again on LG. And look at some of the streaks right now on the side of Millenium. You've got Marky B, a couple kills off that Trinity rocket.
And this is lovely as well if you're a Millenium fan. Yesterday, Marky B struggled quite a lot, you'd safe to say. So that is the easiest road for improvement short term for this Millenium squad. Marky B just needs to turn it around. So far, he's done exactly that, and it results in the lead that you see on your screen, 78-58.
Are my eyes deceiving me, or did Moose just spell his own name wrong in his on the scoreboard? Did he forget the E?
It doesn't matter, man.
Okay.
You don't need E's, you just need W's. That's all they're going to care about. But LG, we talked about their struggles on Turbine. Drill is where they exceeded yesterday playing against United. Right now, they're just fighting for that scrap time. Nolson is able to pick up kill. Petey showing up as well. And Nolson, he's the unsung hero right now. 10-4, started off fantastic, and he has not slowed down a bit.
And I think the big thing to point out as well is Marky B's put himself in a great spot to succeed in all of these engagements there. Flanked through that middle rocks area. His team then hit the front side. The easy pinch came into play. 102-65. There's a 7 streak for Marky B, and now he's looking for more. He can go ahead and challenge his player on deck. 1 kill off the bombardment. Will he get it? Marky B, it doesn't matter. His team now up to a 45-second lead as Millenium come out of the gates hot here in map number 1.
And this is what you want to see from Marky B as well, baiting his teammates to try and work towards those streaks, and that's going to be the bombardment on top of the Trinity rocket. Now, there are plenty of times where you need to be the most selfless player possible, get those points on the board, but once you get to that 4 or 5 kill mark, those are what you need to be playing for. Bait your teammates, get those streaks on board, because those could be a game changer.
Luminosity just had 4 players negative prior to Octane's 2 streak, and Slack getting that quick little cleanup kill. Talk about some unorthodox starts from them right now on this map. Millenium just shutting them down. Is it aggression? Is it better team play? What's really standing out for you that's making this possible for the European squad?
Well, right now, it just comes down to those rotations. On Turbine, they got beat pretty badly, and they got beat again over on the hangar. But as soon as they broke through, they needed to focus up, and they said, all right, this drill hill, we need to make sure we lock down. So they got all the scrap necessary and made sure to contest for as long as possible until they had Marky B picking up those next 3-4 kills for them to get on board. Trying to extend their lead as well, about 30 points in their favor going into Turbine. But again, this is where Luminosity the first time around, they put 39 points on the board. Uncontested, Millenium got 0.
Oh, no.
Millenium needs to change it.
It doesn't look good this time around as well. Slack was the only player inside the hard point, decides to forfeit his position to stay alive with his team. They will now have a 4v3 number advantage for the retake. They've given up the first 20 seconds, but now they're putting resources into this. First, a Scarab comes out. That's going to make the player 1 shot. Bombardment, though, from Marky B. He cleans up 2, hitting the catwalk. There's 3 dead. That is where streaks are important, Chance. Nicely done by Marky B to resecure the hill.
And not only does he get those 2 kills with the bombardment, he calls out the 3rd player as well, coming from the inside of the top hangar area, and PD's able to pick up that kill. Either way, though, Luminosity was able to break back through in just a matter of 10 seconds.
They got the close spawn.
And that is hugely important. Again, though, Millenium does have those early rotations over towards hangar, but if Luminosity can break through Turbine in 10 seconds, can they do it again?
Well, look at the difference this time around. Last time it was LG with the early control, and Millenium flooded the top bridge. This time it's LG playing how most teams do, where they hit the back rocks, try to get the spawns. Millenium are reading it like a book. They have not only Nolson in his back area, but Moose as well. They're ready for this 4-man LG push. They've already gotten 20 seconds. They're looking for more. Marky B's job, defend the front door. And look, Nolson in your kill feed gets 2. Marky B gets a kill himself. And now there's an opportunity for Millenium to wipe LG off the map. Does Marky B stay alive? There it is. They're just outplaying LG right now in every single way, Chance.
Yeah, and Nolson is the huge playmaker in that factor. Those 2 kills he picked up, he was getting triple hit by Luminosity in the backside completely by himself. And picking up 2 is absolutely massive, forcing those players back. So those 2 kills just bought his team an extra 20, 30 seconds on the board, and Millenium is continuing the destruction. Marky B, again, you see him baiting his teammates, but he's doing his job and doing it well.
If Marky B's going to be baiting his teammates and he's putting up near 2 minutes in the hill and a 3.0 KD, bait all you want, basically, is what I'm telling him. An 80-second lead now for Millenium. Marky B, a couple kills again off the Trinity rocket and bombardment. Crazy to see that this wasn't just a one set of hills kind of performance, right? They have kept this up all game right now. You've got Saints at 9 and 20. Octane just dropped to negative as well. Classics had a slow start to this game. They're finally, this is the longest bit of time they've gotten really in what, the last 4 or 5 hills now in this game, the first 30 seconds of this hard point. They're trying to claw back into things, Chance. But again, Millenium, they have some utility to work with as well as 3 players are about to have their payloads.
Well, LG definitely has the perfect setup. They got 1 player sitting in observation waiting for the flank to come in.
Yep.
And they spent about 15, 20 seconds going on that flank. They went all the way around Hangar, so they wasted all of that time to begin with and got absolutely nothing out of it. Meanwhile, other players are going to be pinned down over by Control, so Luminosity with the perfect hold on this drill hill.
I think it's pretty safe to see where this game's going to go, Chance. All comes down to the next Turbine hardpoint, right? I think that's safe to say. They'll probably contest some time here in middle map. Yes, LG still down. Any good time they can get here is only a cherry on top, but setting up for Turbine will be everything. Look at how slow playing Millenium are right now. They sent 3 to the back rocks, now pinching in from this drill side. What was an 80, 90-second lead earlier on, now down to just 20 as LG are continuing to claw back in this game. This would be a colossal, well, I'm not from Texas, a colossal fall if Millenium dropped this game 1.
Well, you saw right there as well, Millenium did not get a lot of hill pressure into that middle hard point. It's a bit of a misnomer. You can get, this can be a money hill if you play it well enough. So Luminosity, 3 players fall. Still, again, 5 seconds later, they come back right back and take control of the hill. So they were just down by about 70 points at the start of drill. Now we're working our way to a tie game. Luminosity went on a massive run.
Yeah, and right now there's only 8 seconds left. Look at the spawns on your minimap. The top left, LG are there. They're ready for Turbine. You're going to get 1, maybe 2 good pushes if you are Millenium, and this man right here on your screen is going to have to be the one to entry it with this reactive armor. Petey checking bridge, sees him, but he gets killed by Classic. He's going to now spawn all the way out because the close spawn is blocked. There you go. He spawned at the backside of Drill. Centurion now down. Luminosity just 25 seconds away from taking map number 1.
Well, Saints does drop, and he spawns on the other side of the map. Now Petey's trying to work his way in. You see, though, the Centurion causing the stop, and that is a clean 4 down. Octane is able to pick up 3. Luminosity now just needs 15 more seconds, and they have the lockdown. The players are forced to sprint all the way through Hall. Classic's going to call that out. The teammates know exactly where to look, and again, the Centurion has the other side. Anyway, Classic able to pick up 1. Just 4 more seconds left. Nolson and Mooseman able to contest the hill. Still, though, Slack on the head glitch is trying to pick up the second player. Saints is able to clean him up, and Luminosity takes game number 1, 250 to 218.
What a swing in momentum, Chance, and it all started at that drill hard point you talked about, how that's a strong one on this map for LG. And then I brought up as well, the rotation towards Turbine would be everything. When you get set up and you have a Centurion blocking that outer catwalk area, how frustrating is that for Petey? He's got 2 players to look at, pops his reactive armor, he starts getting stunned up, and I think the faces of Millenium really tell the story right there. They know how important that first map was, and they just dropped it big time.
And I mean, we just saw 2 shades of the exact same things we saw from both teams yesterday.
Yep.
One, Luminosity against E United, the first hardpoint map, they found themselves down. And in the final 2 hills, this time it was 3, stormed their way back and just went on massive streaks to turn the game around and clutch up at the very end. They do the exact same thing there. And then Millenium's problem is they were just throwing games away. They were throwing rounds away, not going for 1-point shots in Uplink that cost them the game, throwing search and destroy rounds away when they get clutched on 1v3 multiple times. Well, now they just blew a 70-point lead. They are finding new and creative ways to lose.
Finding new and creative ways to lose are Millenium. The other side of things, though, LG, we know their strengths. It's in the respawns. It's how they got here to the Global Pro League.
Luminosity are the respawn juggernauts of the Call of Duty World League. The trio of Slacked, Octane, and Classic were a top 2 team for nearly half of Black Ops 3, and at the start of Infinite Warfare, they left Rise Nation and Looney behind to join up with Saints on Luminosity. With a team of 4 incredible Slayers, the question coming into the year was, who would be the player to take over that leadership role that Looney once built? How did they make it into the Global Pro League? On the back of their phenomenal respawn game modes. Their consistent and dominant play in hardpoint and uplink have carried them at events. And while their online play has been lackluster, this 4-man lineup has consistently placed in our top 8 at major international LAN events. Luminosity's standout performance was at the CWL Atlanta Open, in which they took home 4th place. They began their run with a 4-0 start in pools and a dominating 3-1 victory over Vegas champions Rise Nation in the winners bracket round 1. Ultimately though, they were knocked into the losers bracket by Team Envious and bounced from the tournament by Optic Gaming. However, the 4th place finish, an epic 5-game series with Optic, showed that this team has incredible potential. Moving forward, all eyes will be on Luminosity's continued struggles in Search and Destroy. At the most recent event at CWL Dallas Open, it was a perfect example of the team's weakness. LG won over 70% of the respawn game modes, but only 30% of their Search and Destroys. Luminosity has the raw slaying power to hang with the likes of Optic Gaming, FaZe Clan, and E-United, but they have to fix their S&Ds moving forward. The goal for this Luminosity roster should be to become a more balanced team in time for the GPL. Tune in May 5th through the 7th to see how Luminosity performs in Stage 1 of the CWL Global Pro League.
You saw some of the stats there from Dallas, a 70% plus win percentage across the respawns. S&D was their point that they showed that they can be beaten. And right now, you think, Chance, coming into this S&D, you thought the hardpoint was a must-win. That's got to stand out even more now in Search and Destroy.
Well, I kind of wish I could take that comment back about it being a must-win, excuse me. Millennium, fantastic uplink team. They can hang with the best. They beat E-United like 15-4 or something like that. So if you can manhandle E-United on any map, you're going to be good at that game mode. Yeah. So still faith for Millennium in that department. And then their Search and Destroy is perfectly fine. And again, LG, that is where they have shown their only weakness, really, so to speak. So Millennium certainly not out of it yet, but they cannot play it all like they did yesterday.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is Crusher S&D for map 2, which was mentioned how Millennium, as the analyst said, they looked strong on this map before. I think it's one of their better ones. A lot of it comes down to how Nolson plays for this team, with the aggressive play from him with the submachine gun. Another thing to bring up as well, presence of a sniper in this map. Not exactly sure if it will be brought out here between these teams. But either way, another thing to watch out for, that pick potential so lethal, especially in that mid lane.
Yeah, the only problem I have with the sniper on this map is if the other team is aware of it, it's really easy to not get picked off. Like at the start of it, you have 2 options. If you're on defense, you can either overlook mid-map or overlook the B bomb site. If I have my bomb sites correct, the incredibly long lines of sight. But if the players know not to challenge either of those things, then it makes your sniper, to an extent, null and void. Of course, there's always some finesse snipers that are incredible with what they do that can make anything work for them given the situation. But generally speaking, it's much more safer and more comfortable to have a K-Bar NV4 just because of how easy the snipers are to avoid.
Yeah, 2 players that come to mind when you talk about on this map specifically that can still make plays happen when the other team knows they're sniping. John from Envy and Nagafin as well. Either way, though, those 2 players aren't in this one, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Watch out, though, for what Millennium will do on this map. For me, it is a must-win getting brought up with the rest of this series. A lot of our analysts thought this would be a 3-1 overall, so Millennium have to take a map at some point. We'll see what they can do. Either way, excited for this day to go on because up next, we also have Epsilon versus E-United. Maven's prediction for the 2 teams to be the top 2 in this group. In the grand scheme of things, how important is it with the map counts and breakdowns for you that LG has a monster day today when you think that they also, later on today, face up against Epsilon again?
I wouldn't be too worried if I was Luminosity or a Luminosity fan. I would feel pretty confident that you would be able to beat both of the European teams.
Okay.
So really my entire focus would just be game planning for how can we take down E-United because we have the expectations we should beat these teams. Of course, that doesn't mean take them lightly. It doesn't mean overlook them. Don't get overconfident. Nothing like that. But my entire focus is we're going to be guaranteed in thought that top 2 placing. We're just going to go for that #1 seed, taking down the best in the world to establish ourselves as just that. Of course, the long way to go, and this would be one of the perfect places to exemplify the practice and ability you have to overcome your own personal adversity and being terrible at Search and Destroy and seeing how you stack up against the Europeans.
Well, let's watch it all play out. Already the ERAD for Moose gives some signals that this should be a little bit more pressure towards the A site, and that's exactly how Millenium will play this. But LG also keeping their watch towards this area of the map. No engagements as of yet, as now the pressure begins to come in towards the bomb. It's Saints versus PD, PD getting first blood.
And absolutely no one for Luminosity there to trade right away. Moose, though, has his teammates back, and this has been Luminosity's biggest falter. They are not effective at trading kills at all, so once that first blood comes in, another player is just going to fall. Slack's going to get picked off, and all of a sudden, Octane, he's just in a 1v4. His position is known. PD flying out and challenging that. I'm pretty sure he had an ERAD in hand, but all the confidence in the world. Very quick round coming in from Millenium.
You can have all the confidence you want when right behind him he had 3 teammates ready to back him up. Nice shots, hitting 6 bullets quickly onto Octane there with the ERAD, and just like that, LG get overwhelmed. They had 3 players stacked on that site, 2 chance, and still get completely wiped.
Yeah, and I don't have stats on this, but more often than not,
you can make it up.
North American teams, more often than not, always go to that B bomb site. There are definitely occasions where it gets mixed up, but the Europeans do not mind at all. They will happily hit A. Of course, as I say that, Luminosity working themselves inside. Slack able to find that first blood as well on PD, and as mentioned before in round number 1, the trade for the kill does not come in.
I think the big thing to take note of, especially when holding the A site on this map, is to know when to just forfeit the bomb if you're on defense. Just get out of the site, play for a retake. Right there, he would have been so overwhelmed by 3 LG players. Instead, you know, Moose gets out, stays alive, and now they're going to look to see where they can find an opening in this LG setup. There's the first blood, 3v3 now.
Marky B is able to pick that kill up and get out of dodge as well. Of course, they know where the pressure is going to be coming from. Marky B has another play in front of him. Going to check over top. Now has information on 2. Moose is able to come from the side, picks up 1. Luminosity falling apart at the seams. Classic, though, is able to pick up 1. Slack has gone on a huge flank and gets the bomb diffuser. It's going to be a 1v1 Slack versus Marky B.
Slack knows he does not have to check this bomb for a while. This will be a round win for LG. That got, for me, that got way closer than it should have been, Chance. I don't know about you, but you have a first player get challenged with no trade, second player get challenged with no trade. Thankfully, Slack makes the round-winning decision by flanking all the way through mid lane and checking that bomb to kill the diffuser. Nice play by him to keep LG at a 1-1 round count.
And I like that setup as well. Yes, Marky B is able to pick up the kill inside of you, and he does not get traded. But again, as you said, Slack made the decision to just go away. They understand where the pressure was coming from, made the correct response and how to handle that situation. So worked out pretty well. Millenium obviously had success going to A last time around. However, recognize how many players for LG were nearby in the area. And this time it looks like they're going to be trying to work this B bomb site. You can see for Luminosity, no one's over there.
So this is the exact same setup as round number 1. I'm wondering what LG's call is to go for this defense on B. It looks like they're just going to give up the site and play for a retake. And yeah, smart play by Moose to get this bomb down, especially with camo. He's already about 60% of the way there to that incredible payload ability.
Right now we get an opportunity to see how Luminosity is going to break this, and it looks like after Marky B spots the players on the flank, they're going to wrap all the way back around and attack it from their original spawn side. So this is more of the standard setup we see. Slack going to be the first player in the challenge. They always know someone's going to be behind the crates. You just have to get there. Slack just inches away, able to get that first blood, no problem.
You should get the call, too, on the wall run. Marky B always playing the late flank, and it's been smelled out now by Octane. It's one player, Moose, all by himself, now dead. Octane with arguably the round-saving kill. But I think the big thing was you saw Moose push through that underpass area as well. So LG were like, oh, okay, they're probably behind us, and they spotted both on their screen. Nice cleanup by them. The slow retake pays off.
And you know, I had an opportunity to talk to Slack a few days ago and basically brought up the point. Obviously, you guys great at respawn. Search and destroy is not where it's at. What have you done to kind of improve upon that since Dallas? And he said, look, we all talked it over as a team. We worked on it in some 2Ks, and we just need to stick together a lot better. We would play by ourselves. We were kind of all doing our own thing. But as long as we essentially go with the buddy system and make sure that we can trade kills efficiently, we'll be just fine. If we stick together, we'll be just fine. And they made the call, 4 players all sticking together to go for the flank around, and it worked out beautifully.
There was a reason why there was so much hype around this team when it was formed, right? It's because you have 4 of the most individually talented players in competitive Call of Duty on the same lineup. When you do that, you play 4v4s for the most part, you should win the engagements straight on. Trophy system trying to defend this site, as it is a 3v3. Bomb still in the hands of Classic, no objective planted yet, as you can see with X-Ray. 3 Millenium players ready to charge, and out they're going for the outer push. You've got ARs watching this, Nolson with 2, it's a one-on-one. Moose versus Classic. Moose still playing this one passively. I think both players have spotted their opposition. Moose gonna challenge, can't get the kill though, it's Classic cleaning him up. to win the round for LG.
Beautiful play by Classic as well. Has the ERAD, knows he needs to get as close as possible, knows the players on the back rock, hops over just to get that quick little bait. And you see he got shot quite a few times as well, but he gets that fifth pulled in just a moment before the ERAD shoots incredibly fast. Perfect use right there.
Millenium not hesitating on that push to retake the site, which I do like. They just went for it. Nolson did get the two-piece to swing the trade advantage over to the side of Millenium, but Moose playing it a little bit more passively back at Rock. You could argue cost of the team right there. Slack just staying alive inside you as LG looked to take a 4-1 round count lead.
And I'm pretty sure he just got hit markered with a sniper, if I saw that correctly. I'm not sure. It's what it sounded like at the very least.
He saw a lot of health. I was looking at his health bar on the bottom left. He only got tagged up once.
Oh, maybe not then. Either way, just a bullet coming in. Doesn't matter, though. That first blood is, Marky B is going to fall. However, that bomb is going to get planted, but Luminosity had success coming from this exact same side before, and now Millenium has one less player to help out.
Yeah, and they don't have to worry about their flank, right? Marky B, the flanker, is now dead. Scarab going to be the tool to push things out. They two-hit the wall run last time. They should know this is coming. This is exactly what Millenium did the last time they went towards this site. Now it's a 2v2. Nolson down by himself. Both players stack. FTL jump! Slack still gets him, though. And that's another example of a 1v1 that doesn't go in Millenium's favor.
Oh, that is heartbreaking as well. The FTL coming in clutch. He just needed one more bullet, though, in that K-bar. The players almost lined up. That was a very intense moment where Millenium might have had a glimmer of light, but again, Luminosity, the way they want to play Search and Destroy is they just want to take gunfights. In respawns, they just want to get as many gunfights as possible because they know they're going to be able to come out on top of those. So they're just taking these bomb sites together just to force the action.
Twice now, Millenium, when they get in a desperate situation, just hit the wall run. And LG nearly throw away a round because they have nobody watching that. A silver lining for Millenium, though, Chance, is look what Moose has in that bottom right of your screen. That camo payload ability. They've got, for me, this is a must-win defense right now for Millenium, and then you use the camo on offense to bring this back within one round.
Well, Nolson has sniffed out something cooking over by B, and it looks like Millenium's going to try and respond to it differently than they did last time. Again, the previous round when they were on defense, they met all the gunfights head-on, and Luminosity came out on top. Now they're trying to get creative, and Moose is in a great spot with the camo. Gets the information, not able to clean up the second kill, though. It's going to be a 2v2. PD and Nolson going against Saints and Slack. Players over by Crates. Nolson working together, but he doesn't even check the wall run. Slack's able to pick up one, and now PD's got to get out of dodge. Luminosity, well, for a moment, we're going to be hunting him down, but he's going to be able to escape with his life, but a tough situation ahead.
Thing too, Millenium used camo in this round, and it's for nothing to this point. PD by himself, he's the hero Millenium needs right now. Can he clutch this one up? Both players sticking together, as you said, what LG wanted to work on. They're at the crates. PD gets spotted, snaps right onto Slack, and gets away with his life. He catches a PD. What a play! What a play from PD to keep his team in this game. That was dirty. He assumed he hit the wall run. Instead, PD hide in that little corner, pops back out, and Chance, you're speechless.
That's a play right there. That's exactly what Millenium needs. You're in a tough spot. You're already down 4 rounds to 1. You burn the camo and don't even get anything crazy out of it. You just get a normal 2v2 situation. So he's in a tough spot. He's able to pick it up quite well. So that's what they need.
That Moose right there. I'm going, thank you. Thank you, PD. You dug me out of that round. Now look at how close he is to the reactive. Earns himself a Scarab. A breath of life for Millenium now. If you're just tuning in, they are down 1-0 in this best of 5. They were down 4-1 in this S&D. They're back on offense now with another payload about to be earned.
And I love the confidence. LG, they just completely give up the B bomb site. This is the 3rd time they've done it because they trust their ability to retake. This time, though, the bomb doesn't get planted quick enough. So now LG, well, they're chucking in nades. They know exactly what Millenium's game plan is going to be.
You saw Moose as well as PD both get tagged up by that. And actually killing that Scarab earns PD the reactive armor, which can be used to win this round. There it is. It's popped. He's going to try to engage with it. Players getting away, though. I don't think they realize he's used this. And there goes the payload. The payload gets burned right away.
Challenges the opposite side. Marky B's able to pick up one. Nolson gets his second. Saints is going to fall in the process. That's going to be Slack. Left alive in the 1 versus 2. The previous round, it was PD who clutched up a 1v2, but Slack not able to do the same.
Oh my God.
Gonna get shut down. And Millenium, they got another round on the board. They're making things interesting.
These payload uses right now, I'm like looking at Felony shake his head right after it plays on out. Somehow technically they've won both rounds where they've used a payload, but I don't think they've impacted the round at all in the grand scheme of things. There, PD thanking his team for saving him from that reactive armor use.
Kind of weird as well. You had the reactive and then let his teammate bait. Like, you had the reactive,
Yeah, right.
just challenge anyway. Like, let the other guy bait because you're not going to die quick enough. Either way, though, doesn't matter. New round ahead of us. Luminosity looking attack this A bomb site, mixing things up just a tad. They're going to get spotted, of course. So Millenium, you see that number 3 on your minimap over on the right side. He's going to be wrapping back. We got another full 4-on-4 going head-to-head. Bomb going to get planted. Players right in front of him. Octane able to pick up one. Saints is going to fall in the process, but Classic able to pick this up, and that's a very quick 1 versus 3. They know where he's at, and that's about as scary as you can get. Players flying at full speed for that challenge, and that is a very convincing round on the board for LG.
Nice job by LG to put that round back up. Camo is earned by Classic, and the FTL jump actually popped there. So, okay, they won't have that payload. Another interesting payload use at the end of a round.
And I like the play as well. So again, if you're LG, you want to force the gunfight. So if you go to that A bomb site and Millenium doesn't put any pressure on it on defense, you can get controlled. You can get posted up on head glitches behind the bomb site wherever you want. And then the players for LG can just pre-aim doors exactly where players have to come from. And you see, this is the pressure I was referring to. Classics pushed up, another player's on the bomb site. Millenium did not do that the previous round. Of course, though, Millenium have been consistently going to this B bomb site outside of that first round. They're doing it once again, and LG does not have a care in the world.
Now you've got Camo as well to use. Still a Scarab from PD. Bomb now being planted by Moose, who's on his way to his second payload this game. LG again, 4 versus 4, gonna have to go for the retake and look at the scouting tool PD has. He's gonna be able to get us some information, and there you go, at least spots one coming from this back garage side.
Well, that's only gonna slow it down for a minute. You see that Camo getting used very, very quickly. The nades coming in to try and shake things up a bit, but still, they're actually gonna burn it. There's no use out of it. Slack's able to pick up one. Nolson, though, gets the 2-piece in very quickly. That round ends, and again, the payload, gets used for literally nothing.
Is this the worst
Yes.
payloads you've watched?
Probably. No, I've played in like some GBs where they're worse, but on like the pro level, yeah, it's pretty bad. Like,
Yes,
Camo
I mean
don't get a
strictly
kill.
pro level.
Yeah, strictly, that's atrocious.
Trust
So,
me,
like,
I've used payloads many worse times.
reactive, nothing. Camo right there, nothing. And then
both.
earlier the Camo, it gets like 1 kill, but it didn't matter. It was just a 2v2. Either way, though, Luminosity 1 round away from ending this game, going up 2-0 in the series.
And now Centurion dropped. They're going to use that as a tool to try to slow whatever push there is from LG towards this site. And yeah, look, immediately the trophy gets destroyed by the Centurion. They're going to have to shoot this one down. There you go. Now destroyed. They can go for this plant.
Well, payload gets used and gets dropped almost instantly. Classic being smart here, doesn't want to plant it just yet because he knows they're going to be burning a lot of nades. Potentially he's keeping count of exactly how many are thrown so we can know what the opposition has in their tool bag. Still though, no one going on the flank. This is going to be another classic 4 versus 4 head-on gunfights. The action just going to go down in just a second.
Yeah, no flanks, no nothing, just straight up gunfights right now. Classic still just hovering, and LG are going to decide to bring the action to Millenium as they charge right on through. First blood comes in, Saints spots the second, able to get away with the life. It's 1 from Millenium, but the damage is already done. It's a 3 versus 1, and it's Marky B all by himself.
And well, we can talk about that later. Marky B has got to get something going together. He's going to get challenged by multiple players at the exact same time. The bomb's going to get planted. He has his work absolutely cut out for him. Has FTL, not exactly the best thing for that 1v3 situation.
Woo!
Again, those players know exactly where we are. He has to challenge these gunfights as well. Too tough of a spot to be in. And Luminosity able to take that one down 6-4. And I think they're what, now 3-1 in Search and Destroy this weekend?
That is far and away better than they once were. Chance in the game mode. It looks like the practice, as you mentioned, has paid off. LG in full command of the series right now, up 2-0. That will now drop Millenium's overall map count this weekend to 1-8 as their struggles continue. Chance, biggest things that you noticed in flaws, at least in the gameplay of Millenium from that map?
Sometimes it seems like they're just not on the same page. In that final round, what we saw when the 2v3, Marky B and Nolson are in it, Marky B is running away to try and like save his own life. He's playing his life. Meanwhile, Nolson's coming out and challenging where he knows at least 2 players are going to be there on the rock, if not all 3. So you got one guy challenging, one guy running away. What's the best case scenario for Nolson? He's hoping maybe he can get 1. If Luminosity chokes, then he gets 2, and it's a 1v1. But either way, he's going on a suicide mission, and he does not have any teammate help. And you see it in the respawns as well. A guy like PD gets in an insane amount of engagements, and sometimes all of his teammates aren't always on the same page. They play at different speeds sometimes. It can be a little bit off.
And Nolson was pushing out by himself through a choke point there. Not a good scenario for Millenium. They're now down 2-0 in this best of 5. Folks, it's time for a quick break. When we come back, though, what could be Millennium's saving grace. Uplink, don't go anywhere. It's the start of day 2 here in the yellow group, and it's time for our first G Fuel key player matchup. This one between Slacked and Nolson. The stat breakdown heading into this series currently has a slight advantage in KD and Uplink for Nolson. Slacked doing well himself though, but the big thing to point out is that Millennium are down 2-0 in this best of 5. You need Nolson to continue to play well in Uplink if they want any chance of making this reverse sweep happen. Slacked and crew though, they know how to slay, and they know how to push up and get control of the map here in the respawns. Watch out for LG to try to rack up the scoreboard here in this Uplink. This has been your G Fuel key player matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the continued coverage of the Call of Duty World League Global Pro League Stage 1, presented by PlayStation 4. This is the yellow group, our third week of action in a row, and it's the first week we had chance out here. Great casting so far, my friend. Good points to bring up in the hardpoint S&D. But now I want you to drop some knowledge for this Uplink. Millennium versus LG. What is it for Millennium that makes them good in this game mode, or else at least help them beat E United yesterday in it?
they play ever so slightly different. They mix things up. I can't remember whose interview. It might have been Dave in an interview yesterday with Epsilon, kind of commenting on like the Europeans play differently than the style of NA. So, Josh, definitely Josh that was talking about it. And he says that they want to have to evaluate the way that they play against North Americans and kind of change things up a bit, because the North Americans play how you should on paper. If on Precinct, for example, if pushing up glass is the preferred thing to spawn trap them in that back alley, that's what they're going to try and do just about every single time. You do the standard thing because the standard things work. Meanwhile, the Europeans much happier to kind of mix things up a little bit. Of course, though, it's a clash of styles. Sometimes they work better than others. But Millenium, Uplink has been their saving grace so far in this tournament. They ended up beating United 15-4, kind of gave them a hands-on throwback. Then they played on Frost, and if it wasn't for a kind of a failed decision in the final seconds, they might have been able to pull off a victory there as well, but they ended up losing by 1 point. But definitely a lot of potential here for Millenium to finally get a game on board.
You mentioned Millennium saving grace. It's actually the only map they've won so far in our day and a half of action. We're going to Precinct Uplink next, which you did mention as a map where we could see some changed up strategies from Millennium, but I think if there's a team that can handle it, it will be the side of LG, especially when they're up 2-0. Octane, basically, he's going to be a turret on this map for all things considered with how he's playing, especially from top glass. Slack was all smiles in the break as well, and Marky B, okay, he's going to keep getting passionate there with that hand warmer of his, getting ready for a map number 3 to start on up.
Yeah, he's feisty, man, and that's the mentality you need. So yesterday, Luminosity playing against United, they go 2-0 in the series. They go up 2-0, excuse me. So they got reverse sweep. Millennium knows it's possible. It is possible to come back from such a huge deficit, but obviously, so far we've seen United probably a more talented team than Millennium. So it's going to be a tough road ahead, but again, this is the map that they're going to want to do it on.
Get the safe assumption, Chance. United.
That's putting it very, very gently.
That is how you are nice to Millennium fans in one sentence. But either way, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to flip the script, I really hope no Millennium fans flew all the way from Europe to Columbus, Ohio, just to watch them get battered and bruised as they go through this weekend. Because again, they've only won one map so far. It has been an absolute struggle. Either way, though, the map's going to be kicking off in just a second as a bunch of the casters are now cracking up.
You know, you mentioned those Millennium fans. Let's see if any did fly out here. Any Millennium fans here in the venue this weekend? Woo! All right, there are. And most of the noise you heard was actually from Chance at his own mic. So a little bit skewed, but either way, happy to see all sorts of support in the venue. Yes, the crowd has begun to flow on in. Doors are open here in the venue as we're just getting started with match 1 of 4 off the break. It is LG earning lobby control as they're on the offensive first.
And this is kind of a style of play you think would favor Luminosity in the end, where you have to get one set of kills, just throw the drone up. You don't have to do anything crazy with that drone in hand. Get that second set of kills and just continue to push. Either way, though, PD has different opinions of what needs to go on. Millennium able to get control just for a moment. Slack, though, is going to be able to pick up 2 pretty big kills to stop that Millennium push.
What actually helped save LG from giving up points right there was the drone, which was in the Millennium side of the map, reset into lobby as they were about to push forward. So they had to trail back, grab the drone, which is what Nolson was trying to do, then turn back around, and in that time, LG not only spawned up, but Slack got the 2-piece. And now look at LG. They've got their foot on the gas pedal, looking to get the first point here about a minute into this game.
And weirdly enough, 2 players for Luminosity kind of pushed through that middle alley, and the guy with the drone said, I'm glad you guys are going that way. I'm not going to follow. I'm going to go tap glass by myself and hope for the best. And that didn't work out at all. So Millennium, again, they're going to have another opportunity on the attack. They're going to be wrapping that drone all the way back around Cat. You see Marky B making sure to lock down mid-map, because if you get control mid-map, you do not have to worry about the flank.
And look at Moose now with this drone going for the one, connects. Millennium will get on the board first, and just like that, they'll wait to go ahead, get lobby control again, grab this drone, and push it towards Statue.
And again, doing exactly what they need to. Luminosity pinned back in their base just for the moment. Going to be in about that 50-50 gunfight situation. Kills are going to get traded as well. Marky B doing everything he can, able to pick up his first kill, and this is where you're going to see Millennium begin to push up. Octane, though, you called him a turret before. He's doing turret-like things now, able to pick up his second on the streak.
Yeah, he was just staying in the back with an NV4, and that's where he's a happy, happy boy. Just like this, though. Look at the drone getting picked up. Marky B taking half a clip to get that kill. Classic going for the last second one. Just falls short, though, of the portal. And that will be another defensive hold by Millennium.
A bit of a desperation throw. Both of his teammates fell around him. He's just trying to do whatever he can to hope he can get some points on the board. Either way, though, it is going to be Millennium once again on the attack. This time there are some blockers. Slack is going to get cut down as well. So this is at least a 1, if not a 2. And it looks like Manus is able to finesse the movement in as all of his teammates are able to pick up kills in that engagement. And Millennium able to go up 3-0. The uplink still looks strong.
It's incredible how much better they look in Uplink compared to the other two game modes. Nice pass, I think. As now Nolson and crew, they're trying a different lane, moving towards construction. They've got 2, make it 3. LG just cannot seem to get a foothold anywhere on the map right now, Chance.
Yep, LG is still going to be on the back foot. Octane, though, again, we've called out his name time and time again on that defensive stand, is able to pick up another 2, but that's not a pass you can intercept. It teeters over the top of that building and sinks in. So if you're going for the shots that can't be intercepted at all, it doesn't matter if Octane's going crazy on the defensive end. There's nothing he can do. Don't give them the opportunity. Now you see number 2 on the minimap, Petey. He's set up already under that uplink portal. Got to hit the pass. Goes up. Easy dunk. Millenium up now 6-0. Luminosity does not have a response.
Oh, they're putting on a show right now, making this look easy. LG just getting picked apart. They haven't been out of their base, Chance, for the last minute and a half, I'd say. And even now, Marky B, the only one alive, takes at least 2 of them. There's the 3rd. That is stuff that just cannot happen if you're LG.
Yeah, just inefficient trading abilities for Luminosity at the moment. Classic is able to pick up 1, but Nolson, again, that's what Millenium is doing better at so far. They're trading out the kills, plus they're mixing up their strategy and what they're going to do. Normally you see teams wrap back towards Statue and push it up and force the drone that way. Well, this is the second time they've gone all the way around in construction. You see, though, they have that complete mid-map control, and that's just going to provide them with options of what they can do. Nolson going to hit that sneaky wall run, going over for the cheeky toss, and he's going to be able to overshoot that one just a bit as well.
A little bit too far there on the throw, but either way, 6-0 lead with only 45 seconds left inside number 1. I like how you mentioned the options, and look at this play from Marky B. They have no idea he's in this corner. He's going to play spoiler on this push all by himself. There's 1. His teammate's there as well. The second kill, a sign of a veteran player, Marky B. The sneaky Scotsman gets 3.
Outsmarting them in uplink, this strategy is too real. Again, the EU guys like to mix it up. We've seen them do 3 or 4 different things so far just on this first side. And again, Luminosity has no response for it. They're getting outslayed as well. Again, Marky B has tried to show up here on Saturday. Of course, though, still a long row. That drone going to be cut down by Saints, able to pick up 2. But 8 seconds left in this side. Unless Millenium gets a final second score, we're going to be going into that second half with Millenium at that 6-0 lead.
Oh, most certainly will. LG held to the goose egg inside 1 as Millenium just wiped them off the map one final time to add insult to injury, and the crowd's getting behind the European squad as well. Everyone wants close matches, but Chance, I do want to bring up this map right now. Reminds me so much of the FaZe versus Fnatic uplink on Throwback to start last weekend, where FaZe did not score a single point in all 10 minutes, and Fnatic just played perfect base defense through and through. It was almost like they were just slowly suffocating FaZe. FaZe could never find an opening. I have the same feeling right now. The only time LG went on a push, you mentioned they did that misplay where the drone carrier went by himself, didn't have his lead blockers. Let's see if this continues into side 2 as Millenium strike first blood.
It looks like Millenium, they're going to be going for that gas station wrap immediately. But Classic does not care, not a care in the world. He's able to pick up 3 before he gets cut down, and that is the strength that Luminosity is able to provide. Nolson, though, doing a fantastic job, able to pick up 2 kills as well before falling down by the hands of Slack. But either way, that drone just going to be in neutral territory. No real advantage for either side. And after those 15 seconds pass, it is going to get reset back to mid-map, where Millenium has been on point. And those are some rough shots coming from out of the turret, Samuel LaRue. Doesn't matter, though. That drone can be passed over back to Cap.
Yeah, turrets are best when stationary and aiming in, not when sliding and hip firing with an NV4 close range. Tough scenario right there for Octane, as Millenium now just 4 minutes away from forcing a game 4 in this series, as it will be another hard point. Marky B, again, the guy who always puts himself in a great spot, flanks LG right there to at least relieve some pressure on his teammates who'd have to hold off a 3-man push.
Well, Nolson, he's been able to do it a couple times where he picks up some clutch 2 pieces. Only going to be able to get 1 there, but he bought the time for the Moose Man to come back and help him out just a little bit. So again, that drone down in neutral territory, this is where the gunfights are absolutely crucial. And it looks like Millenium's able to come out on top once again, getting those 2 to start running the drone. And look where that drone's actually going right now, trying to fake out the opposition. He brought that back mid-map, and Luminosity fell for the bait. 3 players all start running straight down the middle map. That drone started going up towards the top. Of course, though, the reaction did come in. Luminosity able to stop that just for a moment. But again, Nolson being a nuisance, as annoying as he possibly can, going on that 3 streak.
Nolson, again, when his teammates all die around him, he at least takes 2 with him to make sure that LG can't even move up out of their base. Look where all the blue arrows are right now. They'll have to spawn back up, try to see if they can find any sorts of kills in middle map. Moose again gets 1. Every second that ticks by favors the Millenium side more and more. They're putting on a clinic so far this map. LG have not gotten close to scoring. The closest was Classic's missed one-point throw from earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, Luminosity has really not have control of the drone at any point. The only time it's in their hands is after they kill Millenium, when Millenniums are the ones that are pushing up and they get nowhere with it. And again, as you pointed out, every second that counts down kind of opens up the door of possibilities of what Millenium can do. They can start resetting the drone, run it backwards to the base, and just reset it that way, waste time. You can do whatever you want, or you can just continue to score points, or when it's down in neutral territory, slow down. Slow down the pace and don't allow Luminosity to score any clutch points.
Payloads will be something that could potentially save the side of LG. Unfortunately, though, none have been earned, and they're quite far from the majority of them. Octane's the closest of all on his team. Beautiful nade from Slack. 2 now dead on Millenium, and this has to be a score. You have to score right here. Octane gets the kill. This should be at least a 1, but players are spawning up underneath the portal. Does he get the dunk in time? There it is. So with 2 minutes left, not 2 seconds, LG finally get a point on the board.
Yeah, going to be trying to go for some rally caps as well, but as too many players fall, I think PD was the one who picked up 2. You're going to have to wait for those LG players to come off respawn. Now you got a sneaky beaver. Nolson was coming on the flank, and again, he's a nuisance, man. He's a nuisance. He's always in position that aren't exactly common, but they're causing problems for LG. They don't even know where to look.
Nolson is just destroying everybody he gets in a gunfight with right now. 24-17, 25-17. Nolson MVP-like plays on this map so far. The overdrive, the dunk, and what could be the dagger from Millenium, all led by the push by Nolson.
1 minute and 15 seconds left, a 3-possession game. LG has their work cut out for him. Octane again, you see him picking up 2 pieces time and time again, but it is just not enough when your entire rest of the team is getting outslayed. And again, just talk about Nolson, 25-19, being that slippery beaver whenever he possibly can. Pretty, again, MVP-like performance, as you said, for this map number 3.
Slippery beaver. I like that. Not sneaky beaver. We'll leave that one to Puckett. As now, kills are coming in. Unfortunately, though, you think instead of this being a potential dunk to make it a 1-possession game with 45 seconds left, they still need to completely rally this drone with no lobby control. That dunk for Marky B, I mentioned the dagger because, look, right now it looks like that's exactly what it is. Marky B just needs to stay alive inside lobby. You've got 1 payload ready to go for LG. 2 players do stack up, and there's nearly a quick 2-piece Moose there to get it done. That's it. This game is done. We're going to a game 4. LG gets shut down in Uplink.
Yeah, and even the situation LG is in right now, they got to get 2 dunks in. You know, earlier it was 40 seconds. You pretty much have to set up for some passes. There you see the third-person look at the Uplink dunk, and that kind of shows how difficult it is to spot those players as they're coming in. Either way, though, Millenium making sure to do an efficient job of closing down their base, getting rid of all the LG players. No passes can come in. So despite the minor comeback that LG was able to put up in those final 2 minutes, it was just not enough. Millenium had way too good of a first side.
That is a map win to Millenium, but the plays made by Nolson made all the difference. Think of that flank he had in bottom tarp to get the 2-piece, then hides in the corner, goes on that 5 streak, and basically escorts Marky B by himself to that portal with Marky B's overdrive. That is the 2-point difference that gives Millenium the map win. LG have bled now in this series, but they're going back to their bread and butter, which is hardpoint.
And a couple times as well, Millenium willing to mix up their play style a bit. They don't have to just fly at you head on, challenging as many gunfights as possible. The clip where Aches made sure to show Marky B on screen, sitting behind statue, let a player pass him, just hanging out, pre-aiming, waiting. The drone guy then passes him, doesn't move, doesn't react. The guy gets rid of the drone. He says, okay, now I can kill him immediately, go for that second challenge, picks up him. Meanwhile, his teammates had time to come in as well because Marky B was slowing down the pace. And he's able to pick up the for the 3-piece as well. So again, a lot of fancy kind of plays, a lot of nuisances that Millenium was able to be doing a lot of work. It was good.
Great to see from Millenium. They're keeping themselves in this one. They know how important map count is, and they have an opportunity now to do what E United did last night, the reverse sweep of LG. They still have to win a hard point, though, to get to that game 5.
Interesting stat about Retaliation, thanks to JP, the stats guy that's coming in. Retaliation, 13-0 so far in the entirety of the Global Pro League. Whoever outslays their opponent wins the game.
Well, Millenium not always known for their slaying, but they do have the heart. Let's see how they made their way in the Infinite Warfare season to the Global Pro League.
The roster of Marky B, PD, Moose, and Nolson came into Infinite Warfare under the banner of Team Infused. Prior to CWL Dallas, Millenium, one of the biggest esports organizations in Europe, acquired the roster and will be representing them in Stage 1 of the Global Pro League. Prior to the change in organizations, the roster was rebuilt to begin the year as Zero left to join Team Orbit. He was replaced by Nolson, who was a rising star in 2016. The team is still led by 23-year-old veteran Marky B, who is a long-standing European player who has been competing since 2011. The team's first major international event was CWL Vegas. Top 16 finish didn't turn any heads, and at first it seemed like losing Zero may be too much for the roster to overcome. However, they quickly rebounded with a 4th place finish at CWL London, and the run did not stop there. A top 6 finish at Atlanta would follow, and the hype began to reach a fever pitch. The following weekend, they took 4th place at CWL Paris, and they cemented themselves at the top of the EU food chain alongside Splice. The defining moment for the roster was clearly the 4th place finish at CWL Paris. They outplaced every other European team, proving that they have what it takes to beat any teams in their region. As far as players' performances go, Moose's play at CWL London was off the charts. He ended the tournament with the highest overall KD and looks to be in his best form of all time. Additionally, Nolson erupted at CWL Dallas, posting a 1.18 respawn KD, which was the 8th highest of all the players at the tournament. One thing to keep an eye on is Millenium's inability to beat top North American talent. Through the entire 2017 CWL season, their only standout victories are over Rise Nation in Atlanta and a Luminosity roster who was playing with a fill-in at Paris. We know they can beat teams from their region, but do they have what it takes to beat the best teams in North America? Tune in on May 5th through the 7th to see how Millenium will perform in Stage 1 of the Global Pro League.
You saw some of Nolson's stats from Dallas there. Big numbers from him, the 8th highest respawn KD at the event. But Chance, you immediately brought up something interesting about Nolson. We know him as this aggressive player, but not always does that show in the interactions he has on the map.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he is either the lowest or second lowest amount of total engagements on his team. So yes, his KD is normally up there, if not the best on his team. But again, if you're not pushing the pace, if you're not always involved in the action, the KD doesn't always accurately reflect all that you're doing for your team. That's when he's relying on guys like Petey. Petey, who normally has a negative KD, but the most total engagements by far. He's the one that's baiting himself, doing all that dirty work for his team to allow his teammates to succeed as much as possible. So it's sort of a scenario where if Nolson is not performing, something is definitely going to be going wrong for Millenium.
Well, right now he is, and we saw him on that last map play those perfect engagements, get his team some scores, the dunks with Marky B right there on your screen. Nice job by them, but we are going to that game for hardpoint, and you mentioned the slaying difference on Retaliation, how 13-0 so far in the Global Pro League, team that outslays wins this map. Millenium, though, kept the slaying close for the first half of that first hardpoint, when they did have that narrow lead. Then it started to swing in favor of LG. Who's your player? Yes, Nolson's great, but who's your player that just needs to have a monster game on Retaliation, or throwback hardpoint, sorry?
Moose, 100%. Okay. It's got to be Moose. He's the player that when he goes off, he looks like one of the best, if not the best player in Europe at times. He has those caliber performances. It's one of those things, he cannot consistently bring that level of play to the table. But when he is on fire, he is on point. And we got some basketballs up in here.
There you go.
Infinite Warfare, welcome.
Gestures now added on in. Moose throwing up a sign of his own, as now we'll watch him off the break. Remember, great job. Commend Aches on Twitter. Doing a good job driving so far this weekend. Don't want to gas him up too much, though, or else he'll go straight to his head, and he'll say he's the best observer to ever touch Call of Duty. 3 dead now off the break. Make it all 4. LG come out hot.
And terrifying as well. That's about as good of a start as you can if you're LG, because they're going to start racking up time on this middle hard point. That's tough just to survive him, but they got that complete mid-map control. Slack not going to be able to pick up that kill. Gets shut down by an ERAD, funnily enough, but was getting challenged by 2 players. But again, LG, they had complete control, able to put 17 points on the board on the toughest hill to do so. Pretty solid start.
Oh, they're looking for more now as they've retaken mid-map control. Big thing to point out, though, is they have to get these spawns near barn. Slack with first blood again on this aggressive push towards the second hard point of this game. As now he will get some help. Can't chain the third, but Octane is there with the MV4 to clean things up. Best start you can ask for if you're LG fans. especially if they can break these back spawns.
And again, talk about Nolson. If he's not the one performing, things are not going to go well. Starts off, doesn't get a kill, and it's a 42-0 deficit just at the moment. So he's really got to turn things around, and he's got to do it quickly. Perfect place to do it, though. Barn, you can lock down a substantial amount of time if you play it correctly. And right now, LG is trying to pace themselves. You see Octane and Saints at the bottom left-hand corner of the minimap, waiting for the teammates to push up through field on that top middle portion. Now they've all committed. They're all swarming together. And Octane, well, he's going to be doing it all himself. Picks up the first two, working his way inside, gets the third, and has his teammates slack there to get the fourth, and that is a clean break. Nice job coming out from LG.
Yeah, a lot of praise from the teammates of Octane coming into this weekend, saying that he was playing very well in their online practice. Someone that when he performs, just like Nolson, LG typically remain on top. Right now, he's 7-3. No time in the hard point, and that's because he's got players like Slack playing the objective, getting their dirty work done. Slack's about to be pressured from all sorts of areas. Let's see how he holds this one off with the ERAD in hand. Gets hit by the tactical, and it's enough to distract him to get that kill in favor of Marky B. The trade there for Classic as he gets the beatdown.
And that's a situation where Millenium, they get the first 21 points on that hill, and then they get absolutely nothing out of it. They don't ever re-break the hill, but they took so long to do so that Luminosity wins the rotation battle anyway.
Yep.
So they take all that time to try and re-break a hill, get nothing out of it, and then continue to lose points. So again, getting those spawns is absolutely key. Winning those rotation battles can be massive. But Luminosity, again, that 60-point lead. And it looks like for the moment, Millennium's trying to start chipping away at that. But how long do you think they can realistically hold this hill?
We'll have to find out, as now Moose is just going to play this contest spot. Very popular to keep a player in this close corner as he just tries to stay alive. There's the flank from Saints, though, to make this one number advantage to LG. And look at how weak PD is. He's just got to stay alive for as long as possible. Still challenges. Nearly gets the second. Some nice movement there inside the hard point from Octane to stay alive for an extra moment. But again, that lead's still 60 even after all these gunfights.
And right now, Luminosity is just cruising. Again, outslaying their opponent. Slack is the only one that's struggling just a smidgen, but he's got 33 seconds in the hill. So when he's not killing things, he's still getting points for his team. And in the end, that's all that matters. Either way, though, Millennium, they do have control of spawns. You see they have that nice 4-man spread all the way across that right side of the map for control of baseball, and they're able to pick up 2 kills as well. So again, this is where the knowledge of where your enemy is going to be spawning is going to be key, because right now you see a bit of a split. Players coming through field is going to be pushing up through blue. Meanwhile, 2 players are coming over from bowling, and that is going to be incredibly tough to deal with. Luminosity are just picking apart their opponent.
Yeah, they just absolutely flooded every single lane, and Millennium didn't know where to look. I was going to mention one positive you could have for Millennium up to this point, chances, even with how dominant this game has been so far from LG, they've yet to earn a streak, right? So these certain tools to help expand on their lead aren't going to be at their disposal. But either way, if LG keeps shooting like this, they don't need streaks to win this map.
I was going to say,
hey,
they didn't get streaks until they do.
Yes.
Now 50 points away from that bombardment. More than that, they've tripled the score of their opponent, or they're getting close to it at the very least. And again, that's twice now where Millennium either doesn't get the rotation, or when they do, the hills get broken nearly instantaneously. So Luminosity pretty much just having their way with their opponent. Classic winning all the gunfights as players are trying to get that beat down. But we're going back to that first middle hard point, where if you recall, Luminosity, they got, what, 42 seconds out of it, uncontested.
0 seconds so far on this mid-hill from the side of Millennium in this map. Positive, I believe it was 11 on the end of the first rotation from LG, and that reflects in the 100-second lead. And they're still pushing out these lanes. They're flying right at them. They are not taking their foot off the gas pedal. Nearly more streaks were earned, thankfully, for the side of Millennium. They do stop Classic before he gets that Trinity rocket, as now Millennium will get their first second of the game on this mid hard point.
But you see what Millennium did. They get all those kills, but they push into the enemy to pick those up. They push towards baseball field. They cross over too far, and they spawn Luminosity back at Barn. So Luminosity says, all right, we'll go 50-50 on the middle hill, but we're going to have the hold over on Barn. And last time they had full control of Barn, Millennium was not able to break through at all. Barely were able to contest, and Luminosity is going to try and lock this hill down for potentially that full 60.
And when you have the lead you do right now for LG, giving up that scrap time to go for what could be a potential full 60, you're more than happy to deal with. Saints does get first blooded, and now Classic's giving away his position as PD charges right on through. Kill advantage over to Millennium. They wipe all 4, and just like that, there's the break. Here's the chance for the comeback now for the European squad.
And Moose is the guy we said needed to go massive for the team. Well, he just turned up right there, picks up 4 on his way to break in through Barn. Of course, though, they need a defensive hold, but if they're successful, they can be right back in this game within 20 points. You see PD's even leading the charge with the Scarab of all things. Able to pick up the second as well. Nolson gets shut down in the back, but still, all 4 members of Luminosity pushing in from the exact same side. Moose needs to recognize this, needs to come over. Is going to be doing exactly that, getting challenged by multiple players, though, and the power from Luminosity able to come through in the end.
And now the scrap time does look like it will go in favor of Millenium. So a 100-second lead has been cut in 2, now down to just 50. Millenium still keeping this one close. Reminds me a little bit of map number 1, where Millenium got that edge. LG fought back, clawed back into the game, and then won it. What can Millenium do now, though, at bottom bike path in baseball, where they really got destroyed in the first set of hills as well?
Well, second time around where they have not gotten the rotation battle over here. Now you see what their approach is. They have 2 players going to be pinching in from either side, but you got to win the gunfights. And right there you see 3 players from Luminosity all able to win theirs, plus that nade kill to Millenium. Again, they're trying to work the split. Marky B, you see on the middle of the map, has stayed alive, waiting for his teammates to come back up, and he's able to pick up that first kill. But either way, Millenium right now, they're just hoping they can get some contest time on the board. Meanwhile, players like Classic are going to be earning those payloads.
Classic is just making plays right now around this objective, still alive in this corner, and he's just doing whatever he can to dance. Contest works out for him in the end. The nades come in from Slacked. He gets 3, and now LG will keep control of the hard point. 10 more seconds of scrap time to just continue to add to their lead. And again, Chance, look at your mini-map. Another rotation 1 from LG. That's now, what, 3, 4 in a row?
Yeah, and last time you saw, even when Millenium got the rotation battle, it got broken through instantly. Now, though, LG's in a situation where they know all 4 players should be coming over from this bowling side. You're going to have kills traded, but there's going to be a player on the flank. Marky B, keep your eye on the mini-map. Meanwhile, Octane in the back, going to get shut down despite the FTL, and we've seen that reversal. The team that gets the spawns early on gets broken within a matter of 15 seconds.
But now these streaks we talked about early on, these were earned by Saints. They come into play near baseball. The pinch will come in. 1 close middle map spawn could be the saving grace for Millenium, as they're going to be able to flood this hard point right away. That's Nolson charging right in. He's got to get the help of his teammates. This is desperation play now for Millenium, as they're just trying to see whatever they can do to claw back in control. And LG are just holding the front door.
And again, it's a situation where they're 30 points away. Millenium, they're going to have to play this hard point so much different now. They have to flood hills. They don't have time to waste. You can't have these perfect setups. You're going to have to play bad hard point and hope that you can just win all of your gunfights. And again, against a team like Luminosity, how well do you expect that to work? Because again, Luminosity right now, they're in the middle of the hill. You got player number 5. He's flanking all the way around Barn. So Luminosity is getting time on the board, and the players are just nowhere near the hill, and time is just ticking down.
Moose again on this flank. He's just doing whatever he can to help his teammates get into the hard point for just a moment. Get any time in middle map. They can use this as a way to claw back into this game. But look at these blue arrows. They're everywhere. These are these middle map spawns that can flip and flop. And if you're not on top of the callouts, you can get caught off guard just like that. It's Octane that gets the entry kill onto the hard point, which opens things up for his team. 229 to 142. This series is looking like it's done, Chance.
Yeah, Millenium needs to go. They don't have any time. Now there's just 1 player left alive. 10 seconds left before this game is going to be over, and they're about 5 seconds away from even being inside the hill. Plus, they get past the pre-aim of LG. Just too strong. Classic's going to be the last one alive, so they're not going to be able to win it just here. But it's going to come down to that barn hill, and the spawns come in, and Luminosity is there 4 seconds away, and Classic has the camo. What can you really expect Millenium to do? They got to flood the camos. Pop. He can look wherever he wants, get those free kills, shuts down the reactive as well, and that will be your ball game, ladies and gentlemen.
GG. Millenium fall to 0-3 in this group as LG secure the 3-1 victory in the game for hardpoint. Merc's predictions have been on point, I think, so far this weekend. Isn't he like 4-1 now?
I believe so. The only one he called wrong was he picked Epsilon to beat United, was it? Or Luminosity, one of the 2. I don't know. But for the most part, he's doing pretty well for himself.
Chance is allowed to make things up. It's fine.
That's not what happened. That's true. That's a true story.
Either way, another thing that's true, LG look hot to start off day number 2 as they take both hard points as expected. Their S&D game continues to improve, even if it was a sloppy map. I'm excited to hear. I hope we haven't asked Slacked about what was going on with those payloads in that map, because not a lot of it made sense.
No, none at all. Hopefully they can tune that up towards the end. But either way, I believe we got an interview down on the main stage with Maven we can get to after Jack talks.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's ready yet. I'm going to wait for Will in my ears.
That'll be all right.
The interview is good to go. Either way, Millenium, they've got a lot to turn around as this weekend goes on. Slack, though, on the main stage with Maven. Gentlemen, take it away.
All right, now we're ready. All right, but I want to talk about your map 1 starts because you started a little bit slow against Epsilon yesterday. Here, same thing. Millennium goes up big, but you guys just have that moment where you rally. Well, what is it that kind of sparks you guys to get going in that first map?
I don't know, something about when I've been teaming with Classic and Octane, we've always had this like comeback factor. Then we add an out of the team, and we always just like get things going later. And I think it's just the ability that we can go on a streak at any time. And once we start picking up kills, it's kind of hard for us teams to break against us. And that's what happened towards the end of that game, and we ended up coming back.
Yeah, you guys get incredibly streaky. It was fun to watch. But all right, let's talk Search. So obviously, I have given you flack. The community has given you flack. You've given yourselves flack for Search and Destroy. But right now, you're looking at a 75% win rate so far. Do you feel like this is a different team in that mode? What's going on that you guys are finding some more W's in Search?
Just using our gun skill. We finally figured out how to run together as a team and to not challenge or be scared to challenge when we have numbers. So we started doing that. We realized, look, we have some of the best gun skill in this game. Why are we not using it? So we started playing more aggressive, and it's paying off.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think I talked to Classic back at Dallas. He's like, we just got to start flying at people, just challenging, use that gun skill. Can you talk to me? I heard Jack mention it. What was going on with the payloads in Game 2? Because I feel like we saw reactive camo from both sides, just about a bunch of sloppy uses. Was there some miscalls from the team or just a couple weird spots?
They actually did an interesting play that most NA teams probably haven't seen. They like triple hit the wall run for like a retake on B side. So when Classic actually uses camo, he saw no one on the outskirts of the map, and we were kind of confused about that. And then they used their specialists, and it was just hectic and crazy, but we ended up coming out with the win.
All right, one more question for you. You want to take first in this group, obviously. You had a gut-wrenching series last night with E United. You're up 2-0. It ends up slipping away from you. What do you guys need to do to fix that to try and take first place in the group?
We're going to start off hot in our respawns. It's not usual for us to go down, a huge amount. And versus United, I think we went down 70 or 80 in both hard points. We brought one of them back, and then the other one was too late. And we had some unfortunate spawns that happened. But, once we get on our page and we start heating up, I don't think they'll be able to beat us.
All right, well, hot stuff. Luminosity looking good to kick off day 2 of the yellow group. For now, we'll toss it back over to the desk.
Thank you very much, Maven. So there we have it, 5 matches down, and LG improves their record to 2-1 on the week. Guys, let's break down this first series of the day. Started off really well for Millennium. You had Marky B, who has been here warming up all morning. He said, I'm just going to kill shit today, and that is exactly what he started doing, Felony.
Yeah, honestly, at the beginning of the hardpoint, he stayed alive for almost 2 full hills, and that was really big. Millennium went up by a very large margin, and then towards the end, LG started warming up. They got a streak together, and that's when they started coming back.
So let's talk about that comeback, guys. Where did things start to turn around for Luminosity? What were the key hard points?
Well, I think we were talking just about the end of the game, you on the side of Millennium, you had all the payloads. You had, I believe it was camo, you had reactive as well, and then on the side of Luminosity, you had nothing. So we were like, oh, they're going to be able to break into Turbine easy. They should be able to get control of this and put the game away. And I believe it's slacked with the Centurion, drops it down. Petey uses the reactive, tries to get in. They get nothing for it. It was just a crazy hold by Luminosity at the end.
Yeah, but really the hills that get them back into the game is that second drill hill. They're able to hold a full 60, then they rotate over to that bridge or that middle hill, and that's where, they held about 40 seconds, and that brought them right back into the game. Going into the Turbine, they understood they had to hold spawns. They were down in payload, so they set up, they put that Centurion down. Just a great comeback overall by Luminosity.
And I was asking JP, our stats guy for the weekend, how did this one play out? I was like, did Millennium outslay Luminosity to get in a respawn? This is only the 3rd time that it's happened, but Millennium actually outslayed Luminosity in the game that LG went on to win. So props to Millennium for slaying, but should we be concerned with Luminosity's hard points? This was their strength coming into the tournament, and again, they find themselves in a situation where they have to battle back in the second half.
I mean, I'm not too concerned. I don't know about you guys. I think Luminosity's still in a very good spot, and the hard points you heard slacked, like they usually get off to these slow starts. I'm actually more concerned about Millennium. I mean, yesterday they weren't able to come in and kill anybody. Today they come in, they get the kills, and they're still not winning the game. So it's just something, whether it's team communication, general strategy, that's just not working out for these guys.
It just seems like maybe one of the star players on Luminosity just has a slow start. I believe it was Saints this time.
Yeah,
he started like 5 and 15. That's not what you want from him. He's the reactive player. He doesn't get it the entire game. So just slow starts from those guys. If they're all 4 of them are able to start well, that's when Luminosity really plays hardpoint.
They don't get reactive, they still win. They don't get reactive, they get outslayed, or they don't get camo, and they still win.
Don't need some payloads sometimes. All right, let's talk about the payload fails in game number 2. Felony, you tweeted, this search and destroy is hard to watch. Going into round 8, you said Millennium should have been up 5-2 when the score was in favor of LG.
Yeah, so Millennium, they had a few rounds where it came down to 1v1s or 2v1s, and they just didn't clutch up. Luminosity did a really good job of clutching up in those rounds, and then as soon as that happened, LG won 2 1v1s, and then PD came back with a really nice 2v1, and then Millennium, or LG was able to bounce back and close out the game.
So PD had a bright spot there for Millennium. At the end of the day, they lose 6-4, and one of the more interesting moments came in round 9. Let's take a look at this play. Merc, you wanted to clip this one out. It's Classic coming in with the camo, going up in search and destroy. He slid in, met by Centurion right away.
Yeah, I mean, just unfortunate timing. That was the round that Slack was talking about. All of Luminosity, they hit that wall run. But really what I wanted to talk about, that strategy going into this, if you watch Luminosity throughout this game, they played retakes the entire time. What do we mean by that? All 4 of them stacked A. They allowed Millennium to have that B site. You know, Millennium's thinking, a free plant, we're going to do this. And these are the adjustments that we're talking about, you know, with Luminosity. If they're able to play together and push out bomb sites, they're going to win.
And the use of camo on the side of Millennium was pretty poor as well. I mean, I think it's Moose who goes in, he uses it. Instead of like killing the guy in the box, we know everybody on that map over by the B side is sitting on the outskirts behind that box. Like it's a spot where everybody's at. He goes and he kills the guy over by the bomb first, when he should have just jumped behind the box, killed the guy behind the box with camo, and then used the box as cover. Your team could have pinched from the other side. That would have been an easy round win.
Yeah, and it causes the opposing team to turn around, and then that's when your teammates can just flood through that B-bomb hallway and then shoot those people in the back because they're worried about you behind the box.
So we saw some errors in search and destroy, but overall, prompts to Luminosity. They are now 3-1 in their weakest game mode. 75% record up to this point. Let's talk, though, the Uplink. The one game LG did lose came in game 3, where Marky B once again catches fire early on, and we have a little dunk montage here, guys. Let's take a look at some of these plays with the objective. First, it was Moose with the wall runs. PD was hitting some nice shots over the top. It looks like this is definitely Millennium's best game mode. You look back to how they played against United on day 1. They beat them 15-5 here in game 3.
Yeah, I mean, just watching these highlights, really the standout player to me is Nolson. You know, if he's playing well, they just seem to, you know, be able to slay with some of the top teams. But if him or PD fall behind, it puts a lot of pressure on Marky B and Moose to slay.
And I think Nolson's been a big X factor, a big kind of missing factor for this Millennium team, quite frankly, through our first few games of play here. Coming into the event, a lot of the talk about Millennium, how good they've been, is just how good Nolson has been. And he has not really shown up other than this game. I mean, puts together a tremendous scoreline. You see it there, and they're able to go on and win.
Octane has been a monster in all of his uplinks as well. They fell short by just 2 points there. Felony, I wanted to get your thoughts. How has Precinct kind of changed as the game has gone on? At the start, we thought everyone was just going to spawn trap, and you were going to see one side more dominant as you were able to rally drone after drone. Now you see both teams were able to score 6 points going the opposite direction.
The thing about Precinct is there is a more preferred side and a less preferred side, but regardless, on either side, you can get a spawn trap going. So on Millennium's less preferred side and Luminosity's less preferred side, they ended up scoring 6 points apiece. So ball control is really important on Precinct.
Well, they did a nice job controlling the drone. Unfortunately, that momentum did not continue into game number 4. Let's take a look at some of the final results here in the hardpoint. What are the biggest takeaways other than Octane is just a beast?
I mean, something we've talked about all weekend with Millennium is hill number 1s. They're just, these are the hills that you have to contest. You have to be able to break setups. And look, Luminosity, what, 54 more points than Millennium?
And Millennium wins barn as well, which is like even weirder to see, because usually you hold train, you able to take barn. But I think maybe it's something where Millennium just not like aggressive off of the start, just playing really kind of passive at the beginning of these games. I think you saw like a team kill from Marky P at the beginning too, just really weird at the beginning.
Yeah, to me that just means they're going one by one at the hill. They're not waiting for each other. Those are those hills you just have to team push. You know, use your grenades and tacticals. That's when you can get them out of those hills.
Yeah, their first 30 seconds of that first hill, they prioritize the hill, and then they also start going one by one. And then when it hits 20, 30 seconds, they're already focusing on the next hill. And that's why we see Millennium's second hills always rack up so much time, because they put all their effort towards rotating to that second hill.
Well, now we know Millennium is sitting at the bottom of the leaderboard. They're the only team to be winless at 0-3. Epsilon is going to go up against E-United next, and this is a huge opportunity. Create some distance between yourself and the other European squad. Will they be able to take down our #1 seed? We'll find out when we return. Don't go anywhere. This is the Call of Duty World League presented by PlayStation 4 here in Week 3.